Hi, and welcome back to Craft Along with Jay. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Yara, and I'm so happy you could join me today. Today's a fun one. It's our Just Our Imagination Challenge. Our hosts are Kathy Joe DIYs and Rustic and Lace DIY, and the guest host is Nikki's Eye for DIY. And don't forget, when you're done with this video, go down in my description box and find the playlist and check out everybody. There's sure some creative things going on today, I bet you. All right, these are must-use items. We got some felt, we got some napkin holders, and poster boards. Those are must-use items. So yeah, let's see what we can come up with. It was a bit of a challenge. All right, project number one. I started out with two of these um, napkin holders, and I'm sliding them against each other so they kind of interlock a little bit. Without the attachment, as in glue. But yeah, you just kind of push them together, and then we'll use some glue to attach them in the areas where they touch. So here I'm just trying to figure out which way I want them, and then I'm using some fix-all glue, and then I'm starting to connect them. And then I'm going to use these little clips from the Dollar Tree to hold it together, because this is not like hot glue. It's going to uh, adhere within seconds. This is going to take some time to dry. So I'm holding it together with some clips, and then I'm wherever they connect. That's why I'm going to add a little bit, and then add some clips again. And I'm doing one side, and I'm going to let that sit for hours, literally hours, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And here I'm just making sure that side that we already did is looking good. Yeah, that's not what I was doing. I guess I was checking to see where I need to add some glue. Um, and then I'm gonna add the glue and then use some of these clips to hold it together. I was a little bit ahead of myself there. So yeah. Now this is the next day. I let it sit overnight once I was done. And it's holding on really well. And I'm just double checking, making sure. And then I got my poster board. And then I measure out how much I'm gonna need. And then I'll cut that piece out. And that's what we're going to be working with, that piece to the right. My left, your right. And here I'm just measuring out how um, how tall it's going to be, and then make a line across, and then do some more cutting. And then be at the point we know how much we need for this next part. And then I'm going to measure um, how much for the length, and then I measure for the other side, so all the way around, so then I can fold it and insert it, if that makes sense. Here, and then I'm measuring the other side. I think it was like 4.5 by 2 by 4.5 by 2, or it's 3 3/4 and 2, something close like that. Yeah, and then I'm just folding it into a little box, and then I still end up having to do some trimming to make sure it fits. Then I'm going to cut off the excess that we do not need. And here, yeah, because it's going on the inside, I think I did the measurements on the outside. So we have to do a little trimming. Yeah, still a little bit more trimming. It's a lot of trimming. So it's probably like 3 3/4 by 2 by 3 3/4 and 2. It almost makes more sense as much trimming as I'm doing. And then I'm just here readjusting my folds. Still trimming. But now we get in there. It fits in there. And then I'm gonna add some white felt on top. I think it's more like ivory, this one. And then I'm gonna hot glue that to my poster board. And I'm just doing it in sections. And then I'm going up the lines even where the creases are. So that way when I fold it, it's still in place and nothing is gonna shift around. And then I'll cut off the excess as well. And then there was just a little bit hanging over the top, which was perfect. I added some hot glue and then I'm just kind of folding over so it's covering that top edge. And that will be the top of our thing that we are making. Then I'm just trying to figure out where my folds are so I can connect it and see if it will still fit with the felt on it. And then we'll add some hot glue to the edge and connect it. And then while that's sitting there drying, we're going to make a little bottom part. And then I'm just going to outline on the inside. Then we'll cut that out, making sure it fits. And when we determine that that's a good fit, we'll take it back out and then we'll add some. Oh no, we're going to measure it onto our little box here first to make sure it fits on the bottom. And then we'll add some felt to it. And we'll do that the same way as we did the other piece. Just add some hot glue and attach it. And then cut off the excess. And then we'll add some hot glue to the bottom of it and attach it to our little box. So it has the bottom. And we're just going to use some hot glue as well. And then make sure the felt is in the outside, of course, of our box. And then I'm going to put, it's easy to push it in with the bottom up, and then we'll just flip it over once we get it in there. It was just easier. I tried the other way and it was giving me a little bit of trouble. Then once it's in there, just add a little bit of hot glue to the top. And I'm using the Gorilla Hot Glue sticks because it works better on metal. It's not perfect, but it works the little that I needed to use here. Just for the top here to hold the cardboard in place so it doesn't kind of warp inwards. And then I just got these really pretty picks from the Dollar Tree, the blue with the white pumpkins. That's why I chose the ivory color for our little, as you can guess, it's a little vase to go along with the pumpkins. I thought that would look really nice together. And then we'll take those little clips off and add our flower picks in there. And that's it for this one. Let me know what you think. This one I think turned out really cute. I like this one. All right, for project number 2, I got this square wood piece from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to measure out the width of it, and then also I'm going to take this piece of felt that I picked up at Michael's and measuring it, and then I know how much I need to line on either side of this wood square, if that makes sense. So I'm measuring it, I believe it's 1.5 inches on each side, and then I'll make a line going down once I got it all measured out, like so. And then I'll still kind of make sure with the felt in the middle that my lines are correct. And it is, it fits perfect. And then I'm going to paint the outside lines that we made with, I think it's Sage Shadow. And then I got these letters that we're going to paint with Bark Brown, Moss, Maize, and Barn Red. Those are the ones I'm using. And then once they're drying and the sage green is dry on this wood square, we're going to go ahead and fit our felt back in there in the middle. And then we'll add some hot glue and we'll start attaching it to our wood square. we're just gonna go down along the lines of where we painted. And this is why we just painted on the sides and not in the middle because that green will show through the felt. It's not thick enough to cover it up, so that's why we left it blank. And then once my letters are dry, I'm going to start lining them up on the side of my wood square along the sides where we painted. And first I'll lay them out before I glue them down just to make sure it looks the way I want it to, like space-wise from, yeah, you can see I'm already adjusting here. And then once I'm happy with how they're laying, then I'm gonna hot glue them into place. And I'll do the same thing with the other letters on the other side. And then once we're done with that, we're gonna focus on the middle part where we have the felt. And I got these little leaf scatters, I think they are, from the Dollar Tree. And that's why the color combination of the paints that I used and the ribbon we'll use later and these leaves kind of coordinate really well, and I like the look of that. And here I'm just gonna place them sort of kind of randomly on the felt, just trying to figure out how I want them to lay. You know, yeah, just do until my eyes are happy with what I see. And then once I got them all down, I may adjust some of them. Just move them around a little bit. And then we'll just add some hot glue here as well to attach them. I wish it would go this fast in real life. It takes a little bit longer to get them all glued down. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. Now next we're gonna work on a little ribbon, a little bow that we're gonna put on top. And I got this leaf ribbon and I made a loop. And then I'm gonna make another loop that's a smidge smaller than the other one that we made. And then we'll cut it. And then we'll add a bit of hot glue right there along the edge and attach it to the other side. And then I just kind of flatten it down and lay it on top of the other loop that we made. And now I'm going to make a little bit of a tail for our bow. And I just kind of fold the ribbon in half. And that'll give me the length of either tail that I need. Then I'll fold it out and then I'll scrunch it in the middle and pull my tails downwards. And then I'm going to get a piece of jute twine, get it ready because that's what I'm going to use to tie it in the middle to hold it all together. Here I got my pieces for my bow and I'm going to fold it in half so I know where the middle is. Scrunch it up and lay it on top of the tail. And then get the jute twine and wrap that right around the middle and tie it. And I'm giving it a double knot. And then we'll cut off the excess strings. And then I'm just going to work on adjusting everything. And then I'm going to lay it on top of my wood square to make sure I like the length of the tails. And then once I determine I do, I'll cut some ducktails to each tail. Just fold it in half and cut it at a diagonal. Make sure they're the same length, and then I'll fluff up my loops. And then I'm gonna add some hot glue to the back and attach it to my wood board. And then right for the middle of the bow where we had the jute twine, I'm going to glue a little red leaf, a little wooden one that got from the Hobby Lobby, and then adjusting my little loops again. And that's it for this one. Let me know what you think. I think it's pretty cute. I like it. For project number 3, this is the one that's my iffy. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one. But anyway, we're going to use another napkin holder, and we're going to use some more poster board. And I'm trying to figure out how to cover part of the arch right here, but not going all the way. And here I'm going to use some Gorilla Hot Glue sticks as well to attach everything. So here I kind of figured out how far I wanted it to go. I'm just double checking, and then we'll add some of the hot glue, and then we'll attach it to the side of the napkin holder, just like so. And then once we add some of the hot glue and get it attached, I'm going to use some of these clips to hold it in place, just to make sure it's holding tight. And what I do to one side, I did the same thing to the other side. In here, and then I'm adding some hot glue to the outside of the poster board. I'm going to lay it down on this orange felt to cover the side. And then I'll cut off the excess. And I'm going to trim it too so it's flush with the sides of the napkin holder as well. And then when I do to this side, I'll do to the other side as well. That's what I'm working on right here. Just adding the hot glue, and then we're going to lay it down. There we go. And I just let it sit for a few seconds before I cut, just to make sure it's holding. And then I decided that I wanted to have a bottom, so I'm cutting out a bottom. Had I thought about this ahead of time, I could probably have just done one piece to wrap around. But I was kind of, yeah, making up things as I was going along because I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. So I just did it in small sections just to make sure um, I would get the look eventually that I was looking for. But the bottom, it was kind of like an afterthought, I guess. And here I'm just doing the same thing. I added the poster board and then I added the felt as well. And here now we're going to cover the sides of our napkin holder. And I'm not going to use any poster board. It's really not necessary for this part, just because it has that middle part. So it kind of helps holding the felt straight for the most part. This is felt from the Dollar Tree. It's a bit more flimsy than the felt from Michael's, but Michael's didn't have any orange felt when I went, so I had to go kind of with the flimsy kind. Um, so yeah, I guess it's the best I can do with the flimsy kind, but it's okay. It turned out all right. And then once I got all this covered, I'm gonna use some jute twine to go along the edge of this, the side of the napkin holders. And then again, what I do to this side, I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. So that way I don't have to show me doing both sides. It's just repetitive. But here I'm just going around. And then I'm working on the lines. As you can probably guess, we're making a little pumpkin here. So there we go. We're gonna make the little lines on the inside, and then we'll make a line on either side of that as well. And then we're also gonna add some jute twine to the bottom, going straight across. Yeah, I was kind of measuring out. That probably been easier had it been done before we started this middle part, but again, it was kind of an afterthought. But I like the look of it like this. And then I just cut a piece of floor foam to fit inside. And I'm just pressing it down. You don't have to glue it because the size of the cut is going in pretty snug. It's not moving at all. And then I got these picks from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just cutting each stem separately. And then the leaves were a little messed up. So I'm just going to use my heating tool right here. Just kind of go over them. It helps kind of smooth them out if they've been wrinkled or bent in different directions. So a little hot air, it works. And then once I'm happy with how the leaves are looking in this one, I'm going to start arranging them into our napkin holder, just like so. And then I'll just keep arranging it until my eyes are happy. And you could put any kind of floral in there. I kind of like the neutral kind to go because the orange is a nice pop of color. I didn't want to overdo it. So I just used some of these neutral ones, and I think it turned out all right. I think it's the flimsy felt piece from the Dollar Tree I wasn't happy about and the lines. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think about it. But that's all I got for you today. So yeah, don't forget to check out everybody down in the playlist. I am sure you'll find some fun ideas down there. I'm excited to watch everybody. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, like, and comment. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed all this. And we'll see you in a few days. Until next time.